Welcome back, guys. This is going to be the eighth part of our videos, tutorial series. In the last video tutorial, now we have a feature to edit the product category, and today what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about delete product category, how to do delete with AngularJS, and then with the Node and Express, and how to delete the record from the backend database. So to this. What I have decided to do, the one more thing I would like to show you is that integrating Bootstrap model window is pretty easy with them. But that's what I have decided to do. Like if you click on this delete product category, you will see this pop-up here. This pop-up, this model window is coming out from the Bootstrap. Integrating this pop-up window, this not a pop-up window, this model window into your application using Bootstrap is pretty easy. Let me show you that code, what I did, and after that we'll do a live coding. So if you go into this product category grid, and in this very last option I have this button right here. This is what I have added, this button, this markup. Okay, this button right here and the class, of course, just the Bootstrap class right here, and then most important property right here is example model. This code basically, basically if you go into the Bootstrap website, they will show you how to integrate model window. That's what I did. Let's go into Bootstrap. Let me show you what you have to do. Go into JavaScript portion and do a search. One of the options is a model right here, and if you go in here, they will show you all the code and everything and how to integrate the model here, model feature in your code. So basically, you can you will have a couple of options with how you want your model window to come. You just basically copy this code and modify as you need it. Or they have a couple of options here, whether you want a large model window or a small model window. Those things you can learn it from this Bootstrap site. It's pretty easy. And in my case, what I use one of these, and of course I changed. They have text boxes here. In my case, I don't need any text boxes. So that's basically I grabbed the code from here and modified it. And the most important property that they will tell you is this guy right here. So basically you will have, you need a data target and give an ID to this one. This ID has to be exactly the same ID for your markup also. As this tutorial as the tutorial tell you right here, example model. See this example model, these two ID are the same. That is most simple. That is all you have to do, of course, to have this model window appear in your code. Okay, and let's look into that little markup. And so once that is defined, and then in my case I have, if you go into the view product category, this is my model window thing. Model window. This is all I have right here. So I even didn't change the ID. It's still the same ID, example model. And of course, in my case, I just need a button to delete. That's why I have a delete button right here. Delete product category. And this other button, the cancel, is close button. Is by default. Is I just copy it from there. It automatically works. I don't have to modify anything. And the only thing I modified is just my markup. Are you sure you want to delete this product? It's basically asking the user to confirm, hey, you are doing deleting because we'll be deleting this record. Just the confirmation. That is all. By doing that, we can now show this model window here in our application. Looks nice. If we close, this closes the model window. And this is, of course, this is the operation. So in our case, of course, like when the users say go ahead and delete this product category, we should be able to delete this record using AngularJS and going into backend, API, and then basically issuing the delete command to our relational database, right? That's what we're going to do. Okay, let's look into how to do that one. As you can see in this grid markup here, what I have done is I defined this. Initially, I thought about using this one, but I haven't really used this one yet. But I use this ng-click. I define a method here, in my controller. In my controller, I will have a method called setCurrentProductCategory, and then I set that ID, which basically is the ID of my product category object. And then let's look into this method here inside our controller called view product category controller. Let me do a search for this guy. Okay, this is what I did here. This is a method under the scope object. I define a method called set product category ID, and it takes the it takes the product category ID, and then here, even before on line number 21, I define object inside the scope as a current product category ID and set its value to 0. And then when this method gets called, I basically set whatever the ID of that particular product category is set into this variable. I need this one because that method would be because I need to save it here into my scope so that when I click this button right here, I can have a reference to that ID so that I can delete it. Okay, that was the whole point of this one. Okay, once that is done, if you go into the view product category in our markup here, this is our model window markup, okay? In here, as you can see, I have a method now called delete product category. Like when you're trying to play with all kind of stuff, I don't really have to pass this here. I was testing what kind of update you're going to pass and stuff, so I don't need this anymore. So initially, that I was doing that feature differently, but I figured it out. I can do a lot better and a lot easier way. So I just pass this method here. I have this method here, and you can see this method in our controller. This is the method. So I don't need this element anymore. And this is very, very easy. And this now, of course, I haven't done any of these service-side method. That's the next thing we'll be doing. Okay, we'll be coding. So I'm here saying, okay, what if this value is defined, right? If the ID is greater than 0, that means I have an ID. And then if it exists, we have this service that we have injected, and we're going to define. We will be defining, of course. This method right now doesn't exist in my service. It said delete product category by ID, and I pass this ID right here. And this is on success. Any data that comes out here, I'm basically following all our pattern here. And then if everything is good, I basically go into the same. I basically close the window, the model window, and basically refresh that page. That way, it will delete that record and then display our current record. Then display, display the list after deleting the current record. Okay. Of course, as you know, this method doesn't exist in our service. That's the next thing we're going to do. We're going to go ahead and write that method into our service. Okay. Product category. Product category service. Let's go ahead and write this method. Of course, we need to product category ID. It's going to come in. User need to pass this parameter when these methods get called. Product category ID. And the method right here is going to be really simple. There is a couple of ways we can, now we're going to say to our Angular HTTP service, we're going to say HTTP, since it's a delete command, so we can do delete. And so we need to, of course, define endpoint. Let's say for now, just delete product category by ID or something like that. And of course, we need to our endpoint, we also need to pass the product category ID like that. But see this line number 65, I think this is it would work in most of the browser like Chrome and Firefox, but however delete is a reserved word. It's not recommended to write like this because it doesn't work in, I think it doesn't work in I haven't tested this one, but like based on the documentation, it will have some issue in IE8 and earlier version or whatever. So just to, instead of doing that, we can do something like this. We can say, of course I would have to do return, right? So instead of doing this, I'm going to do something like slightly different so that it would also work in IE browser. So I'm going to say return, and using the HTTP, and then I'm going to use this delete, and just basically pass this. Okay, this is the syntax I'm going to use, okay, so that it would be compatible with all different browsers. So of course at this point, if we run this one though, it's going to say, hey, it's gonna well, at least we can see what happens. We should get some sort of server-side error at this time because that endpoint we have not defined yet. Okay, let's go into view product category, and let's go into delete product, and let's see what happens when we do this. That is good. See, it is saying in our console, in our Node.js executable console environment, it sent out a delete request into this URL with the ID 21. But this endpoint we have not defined yet. Okay, that is the next thing we have to do. And exactly as let's see what kind of error the AngularJS gives us. Let's go into developer tools and see what happens. Okay, it's a developer tools. Yeah, the same idea. See right here, failed to load resource. The server responded with status 404 not found, and this is our endpoint. Of course, that endpoint doesn't really exist yet. Okay, let's go ahead and add this. Let's go ahead and add that endpoint. Okay, that's the next thing we're going to do. To do that, as you know, we can go into we'll go into our product category route configuration, and we'll be adding one more route here for delete. For now, just grab this last route that we added, and then of course I'm going to add one more route here. And this one, the request type here is going to be not get or post, it's going to be a delete. And then let's define an API at the endpoint. You're going to say API update product category delete product category by ID, something like that. And let's also make it what I have changed, basically I have decided to do, instead of, since it's a REST JSON REST service, so I have changed the URL also to use API and whatever the name of the endpoint is. So let's also make the exactly the same endpoint in our service when we call it. Let's go ahead and change that into service. Instead of this, we're going to write down this as endpoint. And save everything. And this is our endpoint. And of course, when we call this method, we also need to pass the product category ID. So to do that, we want to say product category ID. In the callback function with the request and response, and that, and now I can check this one using params dot product category ID. And then of course I need my DAO object. That's where I will be deleting the record. And of course here I'm going to write one extra method here called delete product category by ID. This method doesn't exist. We'll have to write it. And parameter we'll be passing would be just the product category ID. How we obtain the product category ID is a request that instead of body we'll say params, and this is the product category ID, and we'll have a callback function here. And just like before, the status, we can just going to return the status successful or failure or whatever. That is all we have to do. See, okay, let's try to run here. Let's see if this one is, what kind of error we get. This is the last one. I'm going to close a bunch of them that I don't need right now. So I'm going to say view product category, and then if I go into this, click here, it still says 404. It says here is our endpoint as it coming out. It says, hey, even though we have defined, but it says this 404 means it hasn't been defined. I don't know the endpoint, right? The server couldn't respond correctly. The reason is, there is a reason I'll tell you. In the very first, I don't know if you have been following along, in very first thing, when I wrote this kind of framework, let's say, I had a skip. I define, if you look into this method right here, let me bump the font a little bit. When we so very last method that we wrote is called process route. When it's a processing route, we don't have the request type. If we have request type get, we have defined request type post, but we haven't done anything about request type delete. So even though it is here, but we haven't said what to do if its request type is delete. It's a blank. So now we have to do exactly the same thing. So we're going to, instead of self.app, and then instead of post, it should be delete in our callback function. If we do this, then I think at least now our route configuration, we should be getting different kind of error because if we go into here all the way to we don't have this method defined into our DAO object, but we should be getting error from here, but it shouldn't be giving us 404. It should be 200 because it exists, but it will have some sort of server-side error, right? Like 500 status or something. Okay, let's go ahead and run this one again and see what happens. I'm going to go in here, view product category, and then go into delete. And if I do this, let's look at log. This is good. This is what I wanted to see. This message is related to, it went into our DAO object and looked for that method which doesn't exist. So it's no longer, see, it's like I said, it says status is 500. The status 500 in HTTP server means like it's internal error, that which makes sense, you know. So instead of 400, 404, it got 500. That is good. Let's go just close this one and let's write the actual code there. Let's define this method here, okay, into our DAO object. To do that, of course, we go into DAO here folder. We have a method. We have a JavaScript file called product category DAO, and we can write additional method. Okay. This method ends around here. So I'm gonna write a new method here. Function. This take, of course, the product category ID and the callback function, right? Callback. Those two parameters that the user, the consumer of this API is going to pass. And I'm gonna grab this code. Kind of so if you have been programming in a database, and in most of the application, usually it is not recommended to do a hard delete of a record. Usually, if you do that, you might have some sort of audit table or whatever, or you do a soft delete. The idea about soft delete is that, remember, that's why in our database we have in my table, when I define there, I define the field called let me see. I forgot my database name. Product management. Okay. As you can see, one of the I have a column called is valid record. This would allow me to make it invalid, and then set just in when I pull out, I just pull out only the valid record to display to the user. That is called soft delete, or in this case, I'm going to do a hard delete. I'm just going to delete that row by the key. Okay. You can do either update in that case based on your requirement, how you want to do it, totally up to you. So since we're going to do delete, we're going to say delete from that table where the ID equals to whatever this ID is, product category ID. Delete from the table where ID is that. This is going to be my query statement. In this case, I don't have to pass any other parameter, just this product category ID. And then if everything is good, I'm going to do return that successful, and finally close the connection. That feature should, I think this is all we have to do for this delete product category by ID. Let's see what happens. Let's see whether it's gonna work or not. View product category. I'm gonna let's say this is awesome computer science books. I'm gonna go ahead and delete this one. That is awesome. See, it worked. And that very first record from there is deleted. Let me go ahead and delete this one also. Delete product category. Are you sure you want to delete? Yay. And these are all junk value. I can go ahead and delete now. Bunch of them. Sweet, it started deleting. Let's delete that one too. Are you sure? Yeah, I want to delete. Okay, that you got the idea. So basically, now we have our basic Crud application complete. We wrote this application we use spirits, all different kind of technologies. One of the thing after this, when after a while, maybe in a week or so, what I would like to do is I would like to have a new menu right here, and so you basically I will have a bunch of products added, and those I would like to do videos of application that not really application, a feature that you can do a search of the product name or by product category, and I will show you how to do stuff like this in my next video tutorial. Thank you so much, guys. It has been really fun. Thank you so much for watching my videos. Have a good day.